Well, good afternoon, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bayer in the house. And as always, I want to thank you guys for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report, as well as my life. I appreciate each and every one of you guys, man. It's Saturday afternoon. I hope you guys are being safe and having a great weekend. As we sit 64 days, 3 hours, and 45 minutes away from hopefully kickoff of the 2019 season for the Dallas Cowboys, and I hope that we get some football. Man, we need some football. So I'm back home and actually doing a little bit of work around the house here, and it's hot outside, so I came inside to cool off a little bit because it feels good. That AC feels damn good in here, although when I go back outside it feels that much hotter, but it is what it is. But I was out here thinking about the situation, Dak Prescott, okay? The Cowboys have until Wednesday to get a long-term deal. If not, it'll be a $31.2 million cap hit, and is definitely setting up and kicking this thing down the road again. As we've looked at, guys that were drafted with him, they've already had a year of their money in their second contract, and Carson Wentz and Jared Goff and things. And now Pat Mahomes, a year younger, he's already got his extension. And here it is, Dak is playing on the franchise tag. And I hear what a lot of people say. A lot of people say, well, Dak Prescott needs to prove things. We need another year to figure it out and so on, even though it's actually costing you more money. If you tag Dak this year and next year, you're actually going to pay what the Chiefs will be paying Mahomes over 3 years. Yeah, it's that crazy. But I started thinking, it's a good thing that we don't have Drew Brees. Or a good thing for Drew Brees that he's not a Dallas Cowboy player. Because Drew Brees, oh my God, if he got the Dak Prescott treatment, he'd been tarred and feathered. Literally. See, in 2015, Drew Brees was the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. Highest paid at $20 million. Amazing what a couple years will do. But in 2015, he was making $20 million at the top of the quarterback food chain. The interesting thing about this is that season he was 7-9, or should I say the Saints were, because the team was not real good. It's a team sport, at least in my mind. But if we're looking at Dak Prescott and saying, well, the Cowboys were 8-8 because of Dak Prescott, and they suck, and we need to understand more about Dak Prescott, that he can't lead a team to the playoffs when it's needed, that he has a lot of yards that are garbage yards. Then how come in 2015, Drew Brees was the highest paid quarterback in the NFL with a 7-9 record? Oh, mind you, hold up. The year before, they were 7-9 too. Back-to-back years, 7-9, and the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. So I just want to make sure I clarify this statement here. Because people will say, oh, but that's Drew Brees, that's different, it's Drew Brees. You can't compare Dak Prescott to Drew Brees. It's not the same thing. Then how do you explain, if it's not the same thing, then how is it that 8-8 coming off of 13-3, 9-7, 10-6, and 8-8, that he's never had a losing season, that he's a bum, and oh, by the way, the year after that 2015 season, they were 7-9 again. 3 years in a row, 7-9. Could you imagine if Tony Romo or Dak Prescott went 7-9 3 years in a row? 3 years in a row. Now, the amazing thing is a couple of those years, he led the league in passing yards. So, if that was the case, if Dak Prescott, 8-8, you can't count those yards. Empty calories. They would get blown out. They would get blown out. Those empty calories. So those yards don't count. Then if Drew Brees had 3 years in a row, 7-9, 7-9, 7-9, weren't those some empty calories? I didn't look at all the games to see if there were blowouts and things like that. 7-9. If they weren't blowouts, if they were close games, as in they were still in it every week, then doesn't that say that he's not a finisher? That he couldn't lead them over the hump on those games? Or were a lot of those yards empty calories? Well, it's got to be one or the other, right? It's got to be one or the other. If those yards were truly great yards, that it was under duress, that it wasn't against prevent defenses, then what that says is he couldn't get them over the hump to win. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? How do we explain that? If it was empty calories, then as we look at him being the most yardage in the NFL, then weren't some of those yards garbage yards? You can't have it both ways. One or the other has to be true. Actually, both of them could be true. They could be getting blown out and some of them were empty yards, and then it could be you had some close games and you couldn't finish and get a win. Actually, it could both be true. But at least one of them has to be true. So could you imagine if Dak Prescott was the highest paid quarterback in the NFL and the Dallas Cowboys went 7-9, 7-9, 7-9. Now, that's not to say that Drew Brees isn't great. It doesn't. Because let's go through, because I want to go through the numbers. You know I'm a stats guy here. Drew Brees, let's see. Drew Brees, 2015, highest paid quarterback in the NFL, 7-8 is what he went. He missed a game. 68% completions, 4,870 yards, 32 TDs, 11 interceptions, 7.8 yards per completion. Isn't that almost identical to what Dak Prescott's season was? Dak had 30 touchdowns passing, had a couple more running, 48-70. Dak had 49-02, 1 yard short of Tony Romo. Drew Brees had 11 interceptions. I think Dak had 9. So please explain to me the difference between those two. And another point in here too, and because this is where people are gonna say, "Oh, here you go again. You're trashing a Hall of Famer to try and make your guy look better." I'm pointing out what is obvious, that we keep getting told that if a team wins or loses, it's all because of the quarterback, and that Drew Brees is great, but yet 3 years of 7-9. But back to this whole statistic here. The interesting thing is, the next year, 5,208 yards, 70% completions, 37 TDs, 15 interceptions, and still 7-9. So aren't some of those yards then empty calories? Aren't some of those empty yards? But then, here's what's amazing. The next year, 11-5. 4,334 yards, and only 23 TDs, and 8 interceptions. So wait a minute. Wait. How does that make sense? How does that make sense that Drew Brees threw for 900 yards less, 14 less touchdowns, and 3 less interceptions, but yet their record went from 7-9 to 11-5? He didn't play as good as he did the year before, but yet they had a better record. How? What? Mind blown. How is that possible? You know how it's possible? The team around him got better. The defense got better. Got Alvin Kamara. He had players around him. The following year, 13-2, with even less yards. 3,992 yards, 32 TDs. Clearly, a lot less than the 52, but more wins. But let me go back to one final thought here. I'm not trashing Drew Brees. I'm trying to show people that say that the Cowboys were 8-8 and it's because of Dak Prescott. It's not just because of one guy. It's because of the team and the situations. Drew Brees, the difference between 2015 and 16 and 17 and 18, better defense, better special teams. He's got a great coach. But one other point in here is, now you look at New Orleans. New Orleans has a good defense. Got a great home field advantage. Sean Payton is a great coach. You got one of the best wide receivers in football, Michael Thomas. You've got Alvin Kamara. You got Drew Brees. The amazing thing on this is they've made the playoffs the last 3 seasons, but they're 2-3. Answer me that one. Wasn't like he didn't have people around him. Wasn't like he didn't have a good coach. Wasn't like they didn't have home field advantage. 2-3 in the playoffs. Again, I don't do this to sully Drew Brees because Drew Brees is a great quarterback. I'm trying to point this out so Cowboy fans understand and are educated enough to understand that it's more than just the quarterback. That you can have a great quarterback who's going to be a Hall of Famer, but the team does not win everything completely from just what the quarterback does. You must have people around them that are doing their job as well. Whew. All right, break over. Time for me to get back to work. Damn, I forgot to get open for business. Sorry, guys. I forgot to wake you up. Jeez. Must be too much sun. I'm Mark Holmes, and I'm going to catch you guys a little later.